Loneliness is not a personal failure. It's a signature, a signal, a misallocation of love. Many of us are taught explicitly or subliminally that love has one destination, one or two sanctioned roles. Yes to your family, and yes to your children, and then our divine counterpart. The one person expected to meet every need, hold every wound, and mirror every dream. That belief doesn't make you romantic like I used to think it did. However, it does make you exhausted. Loneliness is not the absence of love. It's love with nowhere allowed to land. Today we're alchemizing loneliness into belonging, not by forcing connection, but by expanding our capacity to give and receive. This is Emotional Alchemy, and this is the first episode into the collective shadow. Welcome to the Pontificated. I am your host, Lorraine, Usui Reiki Master, Energy Healer, Acupressurist, a licensed cosmetologist, Reiki infused press-on nail artist, and overall occult enthusiast. Today we are jumping into loneliness and bridging those gaps between science and spirituality, merging mind, body, and soul. Loneliness is not just a personal thing, it's a collective shadow. It lives in spaces where we were taught to withhold ourselves, to wait, to be chosen, to be perfect before receiving. The collective shadow around loneliness says, I do not belong, people won't understand me, and connection costs too much. But often what we're really carrying around is grief for what once was, and resistance to what could be. Belonging requires discernment, absolutely. It requires knowing yourself, holding and honoring your own boundaries, and choosing connections that nourish rather than drain. But it also requires a, a certain amount of release because you have to release judgments, prejudice, and shame, not towards others, but towards yourself. Belonging begins when we stop asking, do I fit here? And we start asking, am I allowed to be seen here? No video would be complete without our somatic acupressure release. So let's wiggle our shoulders, unclench our jaw, and tell ourselves we're open to receive as we perform these different acupressure points. So first is going to be CV17. We've done this one before. It's the C of tranquility. So it's located at the center of your chest. This spot mentally and emotionally helps to relieve grief, emotional heaviness, and guardedness. It supports trust, connection, and emotional safety, especially when loneliness has lived in your heart for far too long. Physically and energetically, it supports the heart and the lungs. It encourages deeper breathing and regulates the nervous system. This is the gateway of compassion and belonging. One of my favorite affirmations while I am engaging with this particular spot, it's safe for me to give and receive love in many forms. And with any acupressure point, we'll hold them for 30 to 60 seconds. You can do slow circular motions, you can apply soft, gentle pressure, or you can tap the area, whichever is more comfortable. Pericardium 6 is located 3 finger widths below the wrist crease in the center of the forearm. Mentally and emotionally, this point calms anxiety around connection, around abandonment, and emotional overwhelm. It helps process grief that hasn't had language yet. Physically and emotionally, it eases the chest, stomach tension, and supports heart rhythm and digestion. It regulates stored stress in the body. And one of the affirmations that I like to use while engaging with pericardium 6 is I release the belief that love must look one specific way. Moving right along to our yin tang, which is located in between the eyebrows and the center of the forehead. This spot mentally and emotionally calms overthinking, self-judgment, and social anxiety. It softens the inner critic that keeps us isolated and quiet. It also helps to quiet our looping thoughts of, do I belong? Am I too much? Physically and neurologically, it relieves tension headaches, eye strain, mental fatigue while calming the nervous system. Energetically, it clears distortion, self-perception, and restores intuitive clarity, allowing you to see yourself and others with more compassion. An affirmation I like to use for this spot is, I release the stories that kept me separate. I trust my inner. Last, but certainly definitely not least, is K at 27. This one is located in the hollows beneath the collarbones near the sternum. Mentally and emotionally, these points strengthen self-acceptance and identity. They support feeling safe, seen, and grounded in who you are. Physically and energetically, they boost vitality, support immune and respiratory health, and anchor the body into presence. I belong to myself first is the affirmation for this spot. The collective shadow gets real honest. When we say this person isn't for me, I don't belong here, no one really sees me for who I am, the deeper inquiry becomes, am I for me? Am I accepting myself where I am? Or am I only thinking about where I should be? When we experience in the external world often reflects the places within us that remained unwelcome. Belonging doesn't require perfection. It requires presence, self-trust, and emotional sovereignty. You don't have to overextend, you don't have to self-abandon, and you don't have to shrink. But you do have to stop hiding behind discernment when it's really just presented as fear. It's journal time. So on a piece of paper, this is where we are going to get real and drop the performance act. At the top of a piece of paper, we're going to title that Dear Lonely. Let it come out. The grief, the resentment, the fear, the places you felt unseen, unwanted, and misunderstood. Say everything you've been holding back and write until you feel at ease, till you feel you've gotten it out of the body. We don't edit conversations that we have with ourselves because this is the space where we bridge the gap between where we are and where we're going. So on the next piece of paper, after you've gotten all of the stuff out with lonely, you're going to write Dear Belonging and allow yourself to ask, what do you really desire? Community that understands your rhythm, sisterhood, soulmates, and friendship, collaboration, or love. Remember, soulmates are not exclusive to romance. They exist in friendships, they exist in sisterhood, and they exist in shared purpose. Let yourself call them in without an apology and critiquing the way. Belonging isn't something you grant to others. It's something you allow yourself to experience. When you belong to yourself, connection becomes nourishment, not survival. Discernment becomes clarity, not isolation. You are not alone. You were never meant to carry all of your love and put it in one place. Join me next Wednesday at 11:11, where we turn resentment into release. Until then, belong to yourself first and foremost, and everything else will follow. I love you. Have a beautiful day on purpose. Live and love out loud.